Okay, so I'm going to be making a tie head. This is the shape of it when the top of it when it's done. So you want a rounded piece at the top there. You want these two slanted pieces at the side. And you want a straight bottom. Okay, it's something like what the doctors wear when they go to the theater. Okay, so that's the shape that we're going to be making. Now, how do we make this? So first, you ensure that the paper is folded once and twice. Alright, and then you measure to see that you get more than your radius all around. Okay, now this particular head tie that I'm making, right, I'm making one with the circumference is 24, so I'm going to be adding 1 to that 24 to make it 25. Then I'm going to be dividing that by 6.28 and I'll get the radius, right? When I divide that, I get 3.98 and I'm going to round it off to 4. All right, so the radius that I'm working with is 4. All right, so let's begin. So from this point here, notice where this is this closed point here. All of these are open, right? And up here is a closed part. So I'm putting the inch middle there and I'm marking off 4. I'm going to add 3/8 of an inch to this 4. All right, so something like so. So 4 and 3/8 of an inch. That's it. That's the allowance, is stitching allowance. So 4 dots. Okay, there you go. Then I'm going to be cutting this out now. Halfway. Let's go the other direction, halfway there. Then we're going to use a piece of paper and we're going to put it under this here now to cut the bottom part. So, okay, so a piece of paper like this, and I'm going to be putting it under there. I'm going to be taping it together. Alright, but before I tape it together, this is what I'm going to be doing. So from the bottom of the circle, I'm measuring 1 inch. So I'm taking off this 1 inch here. I've already ruled it off with the ruler. So I'm taking off this 1 inch from the bottom, right? So you can either cut it off or you can just fold it under. Okay. So now I'm going to take this down. Okay. Now I'm going to be adding back this 1 inch now because I want a straight bottom. Okay. So I'm just ruling that. Okay. Now this is what we're doing. We're making this bottom bit here. Okay. So now from the center, we're just going to mark off 2.5 inch. I'm going to fold our pattern back into 2. Okay. So fold it back into 2. Okay. Now this from this edge here, we're going to slant it. Just a little slant. So from that edge, this right there, I'm going to make a little slant there. Okay. Then we are now going to go from here, which is a quarter point there, where we make that mark, and we're going to take off a little bit of this. So take that off. Okay, because we want this shape. Okay, so there we go. Then we're gonna just cut it out. Now we get that shape. Now the reason for this slant here is because when we turn it back up like so, we want it to align with this here, with this slanted part here. That's why we did that on the bottom. Notice it's kind of aligned itself with that part. Right? Now there's a reason for that. When we put the elastic in, right, we're gonna turn it back up so the elastic is gonna be there. Make it come through. So the elastic will come through like so. Okay, and then we'll be able to turn and do our stitch. So then when the elastic comes through, then we can stitch at the top. Alright, and this is where the elastic is gonna be. This elastic is less than 1/4 inch wide. Alright, and that was the reason why we have this part here. Cut our pattern out, and then we are ready to go. So I'm marking now the length on the paper. Remember, the paper is folded. You're going to mark off the length from the folded end. I'm adding on now this strap. The length of the strap could be about 4 inches or 6 inches. That is going to be used to tie it at the back. Now I want the width of the front piece. This is how I'm measuring the width. Okay, I'm putting it on now to the paper. So notice where I stop. Just checking to see if I've got the width, the same width along the sheet of paper. Just want to just shape it now. Notice a narrow part, that's the part where the band is going to be. Okay, it's about maybe 4 inches wide. So down there is the band. just place the pattern now on the folded material. Notice the material is doubled, and you just pin it on and cut. Just mark in the center. So mark the center on both pieces. So attaching center to center and right side to right side. So this is the bottom part there where the elastic is going to be put through. You fold it and you stitch it across there, just like that. And you do this first before we do the attaching. Do this bottom part first. So we are just turning the material up 2 times and then stitching it here, right along there. So now the bottom is stitched. You can see that. Stitch there as well. Now I'm just gonna pin it now and stitch around it. So let's start pinning it now. So now I'm going to be stitching now, like so, around it. But before I do that, I'm going to be doing this part here first, yeah? So let me do it again and tell you. I'm going to be now stitching this part. I just have pinned it already, so I'm going to be stitching that part along there, crossway, and then after that now, I'm going to be stitching this part and doing it all the way around, okay? Okay, so I'm going to run the elastic through this area, so and then I'm going to just stitch the two ends. Come on, don't do that. It's gone through because I didn't pay attention to the bottom part here. I wanted to pull it through, so I'm going to pin it. Okay, there you go. So elastic is a bit loose, so I'm going to cut bits off because it must bring it up. Yeah, I want it to be a bit tighter, so I'm going to cut piece off. And you can see, right, so cutting a piece of elastic. You do not want it to be so long. So I'm going to now stitch it. Just put some zigzag stitch across there, okay, across the two ends. Alright, so now I'm going to do that in a minute. I should have done that before. I went ahead and I stitched around the circle, or the circular part. I'm going to stitch the elastic and I'm going to come back and show you. Okay, so the elastic is in, you can see. Okay, and I've done stitching all the way around it. To the top there, you can see the top. Okay, and this is the strap going down there, or the band. So this is what it looks like. Straight up there, everything is in place. And that's the thing at the back.